You know that moment when you're in the shower or lying in bed, and suddenly your mind starts arguing with someone who isn't even there anymore. You replay a conversation that already ended. You rewrite your responses. You come up with perfect comebacks you wish you had said in real life. Sometimes you even win arguments that never actually happened. It can feel strange, even a bit embarrassing, like your mind is stuck on something pointless. But psychology suggests something different. This isn't a flaw in your thinking. It's a normal mental process linked to how the brain learns, protects, and processes social experiences. Here's what is really happening inside your mind. First, your brain is running a built-in social simulation system. Research in cognitive psychology shows that when the mind is not focused on external tasks, a network called the default mode network becomes active. This system is responsible for daydreaming, memory replay, and imagining future scenarios. A major function of this system is social simulation. So when you replay an argument in your head, your brain is testing different versions of reality. It is asking, what if I said this instead? What if I responded differently? For example, after a conversation where you felt ignored, your mind might replay it and experiment with different responses. This is mental rehearsal, similar to how people mentally practice speeches or interviews before the real moment happens. Second, fake arguments are a way of processing unfinished emotions. Psychology research on rumination shows that emotionally charged events often get replayed when the brain has not fully processed them. Even small moments like being interrupted, dismissed, or misunderstood can leave emotional tension, so your mind replays the situation to complete it. For instance, if someone cut you off while speaking, your brain may later simulate you calmly saying, "I wasn't finished." The goal is not conflict, it is emotional closure and internal balance. Third, your brain uses these arguments to protect self-esteem. Social psychology shows humans are highly sensitive to social judgment. When we feel disrespected or misunderstood, the brain treats it like a mild social threat. To reduce that discomfort, the mind creates alternative versions of the event where you respond more confidently or the other person recognizes your value. For example, if someone made a rude comment, your mind may later replay a version where you respond clearly and they go silent. This helps restore a sense of dignity and emotional stability. Psychology indicates this is a natural self-protection mechanism, not overthinking failure. Fourth, your brain is rehearsing future boundaries and responses. One of the brain's key learning methods is prediction based on past experience. If you struggle to respond in a situation, your mind stores that memory and tries to improve it. So it runs simulations of future interactions, testing better responses. For example, after a difficult exchange with a coworker, your brain might repeatedly imagine saying more confident or assertive replies next time. Over time, this mental rehearsal helps improve real-life communication and boundary setting. What feels like overthinking is often unconscious skill building. Fifth, your mind is trying to resolve cognitive dissonance. Psychology defines cognitive dissonance as the discomfort that happens when reality conflicts with your beliefs or expectations. If you believe you deserve respect but experience disrespect, your brain struggles to accept that contradiction. So it replays the situation, trying to fix the mismatch. For example, your mind might imagine saying exactly what should have been said, or the other person realizing they were wrong. This reduces internal tension between what happened and what should have happened. Until the brain finds acceptance or explanation, it keeps simulating variations of the event. Sixth, your brain is strengthening empathy and social understanding. Research in social cognition shows that people who mentally simulate conversations tend to have higher perspective-taking ability. In these fake arguments, your mind is not only replaying your side, it is also predicting how the other person thinks, reacts, and justifies their behavior. For example, you might imagine their excuses, their tone, or their reaction if you were more direct. This builds a deeper understanding of human behavior over time. Even though it can feel draining, this mental process contributes to emotional intelligence and social awareness. What matters most is how you interpret this habit. It is not a sign of weakness or being stuck in the past. It is your brain actively processing social experiences, protecting emotional balance, and rehearsing future interactions. The key is noticing when it helps you grow versus when it turns into repetitive looping without resolution. So how do you stop these imaginary arguments from taking over? Psychology suggests that the goal is not to force the thoughts away. The more you fight them, the more attention you give them. Instead, try asking yourself a simple question. What is my mind trying to accomplish right now? Is it looking for closure? Trying to protect your self-esteem? Preparing for a future conversation? Processing an emotion that hasn't fully settled? Once you identify the purpose behind the replay, the mental loop often loses some of its power. Another helpful strategy is to write down the conversation exactly as it happened, followed by what you wish you had said. This gives your brain a sense of completion instead of forcing it to keep rehearsing the same scenario. And if the argument is about a real issue that still matters, consider turning the mental rehearsal into action. Have the conversation. Set the boundary. Express the feeling. Sometimes the brain keeps replaying a situation because it is waiting for you to do something about it. Remember, these thoughts are not proof that something is wrong with you. They are evidence that your mind is trying to learn, adapt, and protect you. The goal isn't to stop your brain from simulating conversations. The goal is to use those simulations as tools for growth instead of getting trapped in endless loops. If this helped you understand yourself better, subscribe for more psychology insights like this.